Chapter 23, Seeking Water. Xiaowan spoke up. Why do I feel like today is just as hot as yesterday? Could it be because you all ate those fruits yesterday? The two of them looked at Jiang Ran's group of three and noticed that they were all covered in sweat. It dawned on them that the heat was caused by their own condition. Qinglin was curious. Jiang Ran, why are you sweating so much too? Didn't we all eat the fruits? It's because everyone has different physical constitutions. Jiang Ran sighed inwardly. She regretted not paying attention to exercise before the apocalypse. While she had been striving to improve herself since her rebirth, her physical stamina had only just reached the level of an ordinary young adult. On the other hand, Guan and Qinglin naturally had higher physical qualities to begin with. With the boost from the fruits, they had already surpassed the capabilities of regular people, reaching the level of professional athletes. They could be considered the group of humans with the highest physical fitness. Realizing how much they had changed, the two of them were excited, especially Qinglin, who eagerly took on the role of a trailblazer. However, he soon grew exhausted and fell back in line with the group. Guan laughed. Young brother, don't rush. There will be opportunities for you to shine in the future. The five of them continued forward as the temperature gradually increased. Even if they weren't walking, they were all sweating profusely. They kept drinking water to replenish the fluids lost from their bodies. Xiaowan had the weakest constitution and was already struggling with the heat. She said, "Let's take a break. I can't bear it any longer. Continuing like this, we might get heat stroke. Let's take a break then." Jiang Ran also struggled a bit. She took out a bottle of water from her backpack and drank several big sips. Seeing Xiaowan continuously licking her lips and swallowing saliva, Jiang Ran realized their water was running out. She took out 2 more bottles from her bag, handing one to Xiaowan and one to Qinglin. "Thank you." Qinglin hesitated for a moment but accepted the bottled water. Xiaowan also took the water and said, "Thank you, Sister Jiang." They each took a few sips and felt somewhat relieved. After resting for a while, they found a cooler spot in a mountain hollow to wait for the evening when the temperature would drop before continuing their journey. Seeing that everyone wasn't in good shape, Jiang Ran said, "This won't work. We need to find a way to get a vehicle or at least find some water from nearby houses. Otherwise, we might die of thirst." "You're right, Jiang sister. We've overlooked our physical endurance." Xiaowan fully agreed. Although they were only about 180 kilometers away from the provincial city, walking that distance on foot was still quite far. Moreover, the high temperature and their limited water supply meant they wouldn't make it to the city. Qinglin also agreed, "Let's wait until the temperature drops a bit before we move." While they had been able to withstand the high temperature for short periods due to their previous resting in cooler areas and the air-conditioned car, they couldn't endure such conditions for an extended time. As the temperature continued to rise, the 5 of them were immobilized by the heat. They hardly spoke and Jiang Ran was also on the verge of collapsing. She absent-mindedly played with some grass before lying down on the ground, sighing in relief. With the dense canopy overhead and the ground not directly exposed to the sun, the temperature was relatively lower. Seeing this, Qinglin also lay down and absent-mindedly gazed at the canopy above. A large black beetle was resting on a tree trunk nearby, motionless. Watching this scene, Qinglin suddenly felt drowsy. He closed his eyes and fell asleep. He woke up to his brother, Qinglin, shaking him awake. "Brother, what's wrong?" Seeing his brother's anxious expression, Qinglin asked in confusion. Jiang Ran, who was nearby, also breathed a sigh of relief. "You fell asleep. We couldn't wake you up no matter how we tried. Your brother was really worried. Ji Qingcheng asked, do you feel unwell? Ji Qinglin shook his head, I was just really tired. I had a comfortable nap. Ji Qingcheng lightly kicked him and said sternly, get up quickly. Don't keep everyone waiting for you. While it's cooler now, let's head down the mountain. Okay. Ji Qinglin quickly got up and picked up his backpack, following the others as they walked toward the highway outside the mountain. 2 hours later, the 5 of them successfully descended from the mountain. In the distance, the roadsides were crowded with people, but there were fewer people on the road. Many people had just come out of houses by the road and joined the migrating crowd. Because of the large number of people, Jiang Ran's group of 5 didn't attract much attention as they came down from the mountain. Down in the villages, there were still residents, and they asked for some water to drink. In front of a 2-story building, a woman in her 50s was sitting under a tree, seeking shade. Jiang Ran approached her and asked, Auntie, can we have some water from you? The woman turned to look at them and pointed to the well in the yard, saying, we're out of cold boiled water. You can help yourselves. Thank you, Auntie. After thanking her, Ji Qinglin hurried over and used a gourd dipper to scoop some water from the bucket beside the well. He poured the cool water over his head, feeling refreshed. Ji Qingcheng also came over, pouring water on his head. Guan followed suit, drinking from the bucket directly. Xiaowan wet her face with the water to cool down. Jiang Ran wanted to say that the water from the well might not be safe to drink, but everyone was faster than her in their actions, so she didn't say anything. She took out an empty mineral water bottle from her backpack and filled it with water from the well, using her space ability to protect it. The woman smiled and asked, are you all headed to the provincial city too? Jiang Ran nodded, yes, Auntie. Aren't you going to the city? It's safer there, especially with the high temperatures and dangerous creatures outside. The woman shook her head with a smile, all my children are working in the city. If I leave, they won't be able to find me. Besides, we have enough food and water at home. If they can't stay in the city, they can always come back here. Jiang Ran hesitated, Auntie, you should think about yourself more. The woman murmured, I've spent my whole life for my children. I don't even know how to live for myself anymore. Everyone didn't say much after that, engaging in some casual conversation. Perhaps because they were enjoying the chat, when they left, the woman gave them some sun-dried sweet potatoes, at least 3 or 4 pounds. Jiang Ran declined. Auntie, you should keep these for yourself. Food will become precious in the future. The woman held Jiang Ran's hand, take them. We have plenty at home. If my children don't come back, someone else will benefit from them sooner or later. It's better for you to have them. Jiang Ran was taken aback, realizing that the woman knew everything and understood that her children might not return. But as she said, she had spent her whole life for her children. She didn't know how to live for herself anymore. Being able to sit quietly under a tree and feel the breeze might be the best way she could think of to enjoy life.